So yesterday in Atlanta, the future public safety training facility was attacked by what were described as Antifa rioters, I guess. The reason that I am selective about the wording is because I really think that they would be labeled as domestic terrorists. I'm not trying to be too bombastic here, but when you're coming out in broad daylight in mass droves with explosives and flammable objects and Molotov cocktails to burn down a police training facility after vowing revenge against the Atlanta police for weeks, and continuous attacks are happening throughout the city, eventually you're going to be classified as a terrorist organization or a terrorist cell. So I think that they've definitely earned that categorization over what's been done thus far. So yesterday, a group of, I don't know, probably 100 people, maybe even more, clad in masks and all black, pulled up to this facility. And yeah, pretty much just busted in. I mean, you see the cops retreat. When the cops retreat and things like that, it's because they're not trying to engage and make it a battle if they have the location that they're moving towards. Meaning that if you're moving towards an unknown direction with a mob of people through a city, the police are going to try and find and understand where you're going and what you're doing. But if they already know your target, they can have a different strategy, meaning that it can look like, because I know a lot of people, when they see cops retreat, they're just like, oh, those cowards, what are they doing? They're not engaging it's a casualty reduction, strategy. So I respect that. A lot of people think that they should just hold their ground and just respond with fire, like gunfire if they encroach past a certain part. And these are still American citizens, even though they're doing ridiculous things. And I can't say which side is right or which side is wrong. I think that there was one time where police did just kind of like not let them get past a certain point and just started firing at them. That would be a huge deal. That would definitely change America. And I think that that's what people think, that's what these police forces are afraid of. So, of course, their job is to serve and protect, and that's in their regular capacity. One man out, patrolling, like as an officer, is out patrolling, making sure everything's good in their city. But in the bigger whole, relations between people is also a slight aspect of what they do. Obviously, they're not a PR team or anything like that. They are still police officers. But if you can do something without manpower, meaning that if words or the way that you handle a situation can diffuse something rather than sending people to try and brute force people into obedience, then that's what you're going to do, unless you're just an iron ruler or something like that. But the reason that I'm really making this video, because there's not too much to say about, it was just a blatant attack. Of course, I'm telling and making this video to inform anybody who didn't know that happened. I'll always recommend that you go check out the details on your trusted and respected news source if they've spoken about it thus far. And if not, then quick Google search will get you all the information that you need on what actually took place there yesterday in Atlanta. But I'm really kind of talking about where this goes from here for America, the United States. We're going to have to eventually create an action plan for people who are against these extreme organizations at a civilian level, to identify people like this, to monitor people like this, and to stop people like this from doing things like this wherever we can. So if you know anybody who is involved in these types of activities and you think that it's harmless now, what they're doing, protesting. I know we don't want to see it grow into something bigger, but we're going to have to actually do something about that in order to mitigate that, because this is something that is going to appeal to a lot of disaffected youth, a lot of disaffected people in general. And there are a lot of disaffected people in the United States currently. So we also have to try to appeal to them. And when I say we, I don't mean any specific group of people besides people who aren't on that type of time. People who don't want violence and to burn the world down. People who just want to live a normal life, work a normal job, earn a normal, honest living, start a normal family. We have to show them that we're out here. We have to show them that it's possible. And we have to show them that people who want those things don't look and don't act just one way. And we have to bring back two-parent households. Like, I'm not saying, obviously, I don't know the lifestyle of most of those people. A lot of them could have very well had two-parent households and just completely went the opposite way from where their upbringing was like. So we can't assume all that. But one thing we can know is that having two-parent households and raising your children and spending and taking the time to actually raise and instill good morals in them can never hurt. So that's what I think about when I see these kind of videos, because those are not people whose lives or deaths depend on what they're doing. Let's think about that. It's not even like, let's say, a terrorist organization in a third world country where they're stealing resources for survival or, things like that, which I'm not saying all terrorists commit acts of terror. So if they're doing other stuff like plundering and stuff, that's not necessarily terrorism. But what I'm saying is there's a lot more reason why people in third world countries want to appear strong and big as a regime, because of the other things that they have to fight and the way that they have to defend for their lives every single day. These people, a lot of them looked overweight. Let's talk about that. A lot of them, this is the middle of the day on a Sunday, so not a work day. Okay. None of them looked too dirty from what I was seeing, and I didn't really zoom in and check to see what they were looking like, what brand of their boots were. But I'm saying this to say that I'm willing to bet you that those people who went there did it because they had the good free time to do such. Why is that? Ask yourself, why is that? Ask yourself, what type of people do that in their free time on a Sunday? Degenerates is definitely the answer, but beyond that, I'll let you answer that for yourself. I will tell you, stay safe. We're probably going to see more things like this happening, not just in Atlanta, but around the United States, because I'm sure this is inspiring people to take action, especially with the lack of things being done about it. And I mean in general, which I'm sure that arrests are being made, but there has to be, I feel like Atlanta specifically, who has been going through this issue for the past, months now, needs to come out and make a statement that they're against it. So remember, in the late 90s, early 2000s, specifically in Los Angeles and in, other places, there was a task force dedicated specifically to rappers and their entourages and monitoring them, making sure that, illicit activity is under control. They're called the Hip Hop Task Force. I don't know if that's the actual name for it, but, that's basically what they were. Why can't there be a same Antifa task force? Because we're at that point where Antifa is clearly organized enough that these things are happening under their banner all over the United States, from the Northwest to the Southeast. Okay. Why don't we just create a task force? And they very well may be. So if somebody else knows that, like, oh, this is what they're actually doing, because I'm just spouting stuff off at the mouth because I've seen this happen. I want to see what's going to make it not happen anymore. So if they're doing that, please let me know. But yeah, I think that it's time that we develop a task force, maybe nationally, to squash out these little Antifa cells because it's not that many people who are doing this compared to how many people there are in the United States. It's just a few very loud, very vocal, action-driven people. So we got to find a way to deal with that as America. But other than that, have a good morning. I'll be coming in with another video later on this evening. think I know what that topic's going to be about, but I'm not sure. If something happens throughout the day, of course, we'll always reassess the situation. But have a good week. Happy Monday.